how excited are you for having Devers? What's your thoughts about the Giants acquiring him?
First of all, absolutely insane. Cody, we've been lucky twice this year. Twice. First, we got the Lakers getting Luka, not being shopped at all. I mean, they just were like, "Oh yeah, here, take it. You can take him, however you want it. You want him for nothing? Sure, take him." So that's what we got. And then the Giants were like, "Hey, we're kind of over a couple of these pictures, and we need a bat. And you seem to be making horrible decisions on the Rafael Devers thing, so we'll take him." And they were like, "Sure. Can we get a couple of prospects who may not ever come to fruition like Rafael Devers?" "Yeah, of course, you can take those guys." "Okay, cool. Sounds good." So, and the sad thing is there's a report out there that the Red Sox never shopped him either. So there you go. We've gotten lucky twice.
Who would have thought that Nico Harrison moonlights as the GM for the Boston Red Sox as well? Because he
couldn't be happier.
Devers was given away for almost nothing. I mean, no offense. So I'm not trying to say that Kyle Harrison isn't a good pitcher. I mean, he's had some pretty good games, but clearly still like a bunch of talent that needs to be refined, and you know, it's going to come with experience. But outside of that, like giving up Jordan Hicks, who had a really high ERA coming into the season. I think he's at like a 6 now. So he wasn't even having a great season in general. And we were able to give him Kyle Harrison. We didn't have to give up Brett Elledge, who is our number 1 prospect right now. So, I mean, granted, I know that there's a bunch of red flags going around Devers with him not really being a team player, quote unquote, with not going to first base and all this other stuff. And we'll get into that later on into the segment. But I mean, this is the bat that we've been kind of looking for, a little bit of a spark. And, you know, the fact that we got him for not even having to deconstruct the team, I think is stellar.
Oh yeah. I mean, let's go into what the trade was. So first of all, the Giants traded Jordan Hicks, right-handed pitcher who was a relief pitcher trying to become a starting pitcher because he was a starting pitcher in, I believe, college. And he wanted to do that again, obviously. Then it kind of wasn't working out with the Giants because he kept getting hurt, or he wouldn't last long enough, or, you know, second time around through the lineup, it seemed to be getting not better. So they were like, okay, well, I think you're a better relief pitcher. And of course he was like, well, I don't want to give up on it. And so it was starting to kind of become a little bit of a fiasco with the Giants. And I think Jordan Hicks was starting to get a little, I don't want to say like mad, but I think he was a little frustrated, which I think is fair to say. Then they trade Kyle Harrison, who is a pitcher who's pretty much ready to be a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, but he does still have some hangups that are going to prevent him from being like one of the best right now. And it's experience. He needs experience, time, all that jazz. But unfortunately, right now, the Giants starting pitchers, minus Landon Root, are pretty stellar, and they're all set and good with what they have. And for some reason, the Giants are like, well, we like Landon Root, and, you know, maybe I'll get into that in a little bit, but they wanted to hang on to Landon Root, and, you know, Kyle Harrison had to kind of wait for his opportunity. Unfortunately, that never came this year. I mean, he literally was going to pitch yesterday, and he's part of the trade, so he never really truly got his chance. And then you have James Tibbs III, who is a outfielder prospect for the Giants. He is probably going to be a prospect either coming up into the majors next year or in 2 years, maybe even possibly this year, but I doubt it. It looks like specifically with outfielders, I think the Red Sox are decent. I mean, barring some injury. And then you have Jose Bello, who is a pitcher in the Giants organization as well, a prospect who, you know, is further down the line than any of the other players. So that is what the Giants traded. And a lot of people are saying, well, the Red Sox could have got way more. And by all means, they probably could have gotten more. But here's the thing. What they were trying to do is not just trade Rafael Devers, but they were trying to see who was going to take on his full contract. And so that's why the Giants didn't have to give up as much as most people would want, because you have to take on that whole big, like, 10-year contract. I think he's like 2 years into it. So I think it ends up him being like 8 years with the Giants left.
Mm-hmm.
But having said all that, it is beyond wild that they were able to not only be okay with getting rid of Rafael Devers, but getting rid of that contract. And really, there's only a few handful of teams that had the money for it, and the Giants were one of those teams.
Well, I mean, if the rumors are true that he wasn't even being shopped around, I mean, the Giants basically had first play, and I would even argue like the Red Sox didn't even get the best out of what the Giants could have offered for Devers. And, I think what's interesting too about this is clearly it looks like it was some sort of strife between Devers supposedly not looking to play ball with the Red Sox in terms of being a team guy. But this is also the same Red Sox that signed Alex Bregman in the offseason, who's also a third baseman, and then trying to smooth it all over as if like they didn't probably have a situation on their hands to begin with. And I think what's interesting too about all this is I think this puts the Giants in a position where now they feel like that they are actually contending for not only a wild card spot, but the NL West. Like this puts us in a really good position to battle it out when we have crucial series with the Padres, with the Dodgers. Now we actually have a lineup where it can probably neutralize some of that pitching. Now, granted, like we still have a ways to go because we gotta put it all together. But I'm curious to see now at the deadline, what do we turn into as a buyer's market? Like what pitching do we maybe fortify the bullpen with to really, kind of put it all together? So I'm really curious to see how this all turns out. And the fact that we got him for pennies on the dollar, I think is one thing that is very similar to the Luka thing. Like, still can't believe it. Can't believe that it was that inexpensive, and that the Boston Red Sox could have gotten a haul if they really wanted to be patient and do a bidders war. And there must have been something with this where they didn't even want to have that. They wanted Devers out of the building as quick as possible, which, I mean, I don't know if that's a Devers thing or a Red Sox thing. So
the one thing that I would say about this trade is there was no way that the Giants were going to have Bryce Eldridge or Carson Whisenhunt, who are two of the top prospects in the Giants organization. There was no way that they were going to be involved in that. And the reason is what I said prior, the contract. The Red Sox had to get rid of this huge contract. Like, they were not going to trade Devers and still pay him to be a part of another team for 8 more years or whatever it is. So I just don't think that people fully understand that. But I do also say this is a fantastic trade. This, to hang on to those two players, to hang on to a Bryce Eldridge, who is going to be their first baseman moving forward, when he does come up. But now you can intermingle those guys. This is what is brilliant about this move, is if you can convince, hey, Rafael, we want you to play first base here and there, but we're not going to have you strictly be at first base. You're going to get third base starts. You're going to get first base starts. And you're also going to have DH starts. And this is brilliant because you can have Matt Chapman at third base, and then you can have Rafael Devers at first, and you can have Bryce Eldridge at the DH. And you can intermingle all those guys. Hey, Bryce, why don't you play first? Rafael, why don't you go DH? Or Chapman, why don't you be the DH? Devers, why don't you go play third? Eldridge, you go play first. Now that's a great situation. Now you're constantly having those bats in the lineup, and you still make Rafael Devers happy because he gets to play the position that he wanted to play. And let's be honest, both parties of the Red Sox and Rafael Devers were wrong to a certain extent. But I think the Red Sox, the way they went about things was way worse. Could Rafael Devers be a better teammate? Absolutely. But his point of view, and something that I think we can all agree with, is, hey, they told me I was going to be the third baseman of the future. They were paying me to play third base. That's where I want to play. I want to play for the Red Sox for a long-term deal. I wouldn't have signed it if I didn't want to be here. And I wanted to play third base, but now you're telling me that I can't play? That's not fair. And you're paying me all this money. I still want to play third base. And so in a sense, he is being a team player because he wanted to play the position that he got signed to be playing at. And so he's just upset. Now, was it the wrong move to say, well, I'm not going to play first base? Yeah, you don't be that guy. No one likes that guy. But at the same time, Boston is going, well, you're going to be our third baseman of the future. And then they sign Alex Bregman without even telling, hey, listen, we're going to sign Bregman. You guys are probably going to have to switch third base and DH. Are you cool with that? Maybe we can get you to play a little first base. And I guarantee you, Devers would have been like, okay, let's talk about it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
As long as I get some third base, I'm good. Because that's what the conversation is going to be in San Francisco. Hey, a few times you're going to get that third base, and especially with Chapman on the IL right now, he's going to be playing third base the whole time. And then eventually, when Chapman comes back, they're probably going to, now they're able to work him in slowly at third base. Now they don't have to rush him at all because you got Devers. So this is a great move by the San Francisco Giants, but the Red Sox handled this horribly. And this is a history repeating itself over and over again. And there's something going on in Boston because we all have heard of the curse of the Bambino. Well, that was the Red Sox trading Babe Ruth to the Yankees, and Red Sox until 2004 finally overcoming that curse. Then you had Mookie Betts, who, for all intents and purposes, said, I want to be in Boston. I want to stay in Boston. I want to be the future for Boston. Everyone in Boston, except for the ownership, was like, yeah, let's go. And then Boston was like, well, we're not going to pay you that much, so you can go somewhere else. And then he goes to the Dodgers. And then we had recently Xander Bogaerts, who was like, okay, I want to stay a Red Sox. I want to play with Rafael Devers beside me, and we'll lock up shortstop and third base. And Red Sox are like, ooh, that price is a little too much. So we'll go after a injury-ridden Trevor Story. Yeah. And you go ahead and good luck with getting that much money with some other team. And the Padres were like, we'll actually pay you more than what you're asking for. And he was like, great, sounds good. So, and then obviously the Rafael Devers move now. So Boston hates their best players because for some reason they will not sign him to a long-term contract. And I feel for Boston fans because San Francisco we never even had like the great players like that Boston had, but we were always dying for someone to like sign. And now we finally got someone who is not only a guy who hits for average, but he hits for power. And that's huge in our lineup right now. A guy who's so consistent. His defense is not great, but I think where we're at right now in terms of defense, we can sacrifice that.
Yeah. Well, and not only that too, but I mean, Devers, let's be honest, we're not bringing him in because he's a defensive specialist. That's what Matt Chapman is. We have other guys that can fill that role, but there's not a lot of guys that can have a powerful bat like Rafael Devers. Like, that's why he's coming in there. And we need power within the lineup, and we need a guy that's just a hell of a baseball player. And that's what Devers is. And here's the thing about the Boston Red Sox. Like, I get you want a player that is all about the team and this and that, but sometimes you got to also show some loyalty to your players. And the fact that they've had in this decade 3 phenomenal players that have gone on to other teams and helped them get over the hump. Like, Devers was the last player on that, the 2018 World Series championship team, and he re-signed in 21 for an 11-year deal. Didn't even make it to year 4 on that deal, and he's out of the door now. Like, Boston doesn't hand out these long-term deals very often, and I don't imagine that Devers would have treated this kind of like a Juan Soto situation where he couldn't have waited to get out of there. Like, it had to sour to the point to where Devers, knowing that he was going to commit to the rest of his career with the Red Sox, and then this is where we're at today. So I find it strange. I'm very curious, though, and I know that we talked about this around the trading deadline, but Drew, I got to be honest, man. I think what I'm excited for is the fact that Buster Posey, in his first year of taking over baseball operation, has completely turned this organization around to where there's a winning attitude, there's a moxie about them, and there's players that actually want to play in San Francisco, it feels like. Yeah. Because I feel like Devers is going to be a domino effect of players that go to San Francisco, see, they actually have a good ball club. And then there's going to be players that follow suit. And Buster Posey, who was one of the great players that everyone loved to play around, and he knew the game, and he's one of the greatest, obviously, catchers in the game's history and Giants history. And now what he's doing is he's bringing that same culture and attitude to the front office, to how they prospect, how they bring guys up, how they utilize them,
Yeah.
and Bob Melvin having that empowerment to run his team. I feel like that this is a really good stepping point to putting the Giants back in a winning situation that we were like years ago. Because when you and I were in our early teens, we remember seeing some very dominant Giants games with Barry Bonds in the lineup.
Yeah.
And, we haven't had that success. Even when we had the 2010, 2012, 2014 Giant runs, those still were a little bit more of like, oh, we weren't dominant, but we were a competitive team.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're getting...
It was built on pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple of guys who could hit for power, but consistently not really.
Right. Because I remember more the pitching staff than I do the hitters.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're kind of getting on that same train. So that's why, like, even at the top of the segment, when I said trading deadline, I'm very curious to see who we go after. Like, I feel like in my bones that the Giants are going to be a buyer for a starting quality pitcher, and maybe like another, maybe a bullpen bolster kind of a guy. I wouldn't say an elite closer, because I feel like Duvall's done actually pretty well. And I feel like we have enough guys that have done well this season to where we don't have to go after like a closer, quote unquote. But I think like another starting quality pitcher type to kind of replace Harrison to really fortify the rotation, I think is probably what we may target when that time comes, or in the immediate future, because we're going to want, obviously pitching to combat with the division, because they've got hitters that could, get hot real quick.
So if the Giants do anything else at the trade deadline, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to get another starting pitcher. They have Carson Whisenhunt in the wings in AAA. The dude is absolutely dealing. Now they have an excuse to use him and see how he looks in Major League Baseball. I'm over Landon Roop. I'm done with his experiment. I don't think he's good. I don't know why the Giants continue to send him out there. If I'm being perfectly honest, this sounds kind of harsh, but like Landon Roop, every time he's coming out, he's given up 4 runs. And right now, we didn't have the offense to combat that. And so it seemed like every time he's being out there, we have to score, 4 or 5 runs to even have a chance, which typically, if you have a good pitcher, you only need to score about 3 runs to really do well. And so those added extra 2 runs, especially with a offensive starved type of team, that's a lot harder. It's easier said than done. And so I don't think they're going to go after starting pitching. I think we have enough depth there. Relief pitching, I mean, maybe we'll make a move, but honestly, right now, we have the best relief pitchers in the game, and we could arguably go after someone and trade someone away to get maybe another bat, or shoot. I mean, I wish the Cubs were sucking right now, because now we have juice to go get Kyle Tucker, but I don't think that's going to happen now. I think he's going to stay with. I don't think they're going to trade him, but just get another outfielder, even someone who's not playing all the time, like even like a Tyler O'Neill, a guy who doesn't always have to play. He's got a big bat. He's fast. He's got a good glove. He would fit the Giants really well. Hell, you could even go after a Ryan Mountcastle from Baltimore, who I know is not doing great, but he still has some good power, and you can use him. But with them going after Dominic Smith, I doubt they're going to go after another first baseman. I think they're basically going to hang on to Wilmer Flores, Dominic Smith, and then until Bryce Eldridge is ready to go. So it's exciting time. But I got to say this: the Adames domino is what started everything. Adames signing with the Giants, everyone said it was a big deal, and then nothing else happened, and we were like, oh, God. We thought something huge was going to happen. Well, it did. And the reason I say it's Adames first, because Adames and Devers have known each other for 10 years. They've known each other for a long time. And so you don't think that connection really helped him go, yeah, trade me there.
Mm-hmm.
And Adames has been He was on the broadcast yesterday going, yeah, we're excited. We want this. So great. It's a great move by Buster Posey. Him making this move shows how serious he is about this job. I think a lot of people were like, I don't know, is Buster Posey really going to do a good He literally did what we begged Farhan Zaidi to do for years. And now Buster Posey has done it in year one. So this is already huge. And then one thing I did want to say is Posey making this trade during the Dodgers series, taking over just before the game started. Legend. Be careful if you're lactose intolerant. Dairy. Legendary.
Actually, what makes this interesting, because I actually am going to die on this hill. I think Farhan's was a Dodgers op that just completely sandbagged us during his time, because he hadn't been kicked out of the door all of but 5 minutes, and he went crawling back to the Dodgers. So, and first year with Buster Posey, and he's already turned it feels like he's done a lot better than what Farhan's did. So I think that's we're going to close that chapter. And when does Devers get in the lineup? Tuesday, right?
So they're going to introduce him tomorrow at 2:30. So I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow, but he will for sure, probably on Wednesday for sure. I would guess.
And we have a series with the Padres this week, right?
No, the Padres are going against the Dodgers, which theirs starts today. Let me see who this is a terrible podcast. Oh, they're going against the Guardians on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The greatest part about this trade is on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, guess who the Giants are going against in San Francisco?
Would that be the Dodgers?
They're going against the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, that's right. This weekend, huh?
This weekend.
Ooh.
Instant karma for Rafael Devers.
Is it going to be in Boston or San Fran? San Fran,
It's going to be in San Francisco.
Ooh, that's gonna be hot.
want to go so bad, but I can't even imagine how much tickets are right now. It'll probably be insane. But one thing I did want to say as well is Rafael Devers' career stats against NL West opponents, not including the Giants. 33 games he's played, 10 home runs, 21 RBIs, 30 hits, and an 8.66 OPS. That's raking, bro. I mean, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Boston should be a good series. Yeah. So shout out to Shovik Sport. Shout out to Tim, Matt for hanging out, Podcast Smitty.